Good morning. Just wanted to finish the story. Jesus is about ready to leave the earth. So he's got today and tomorrow. And at the end of his 40 days, it's kind of cool because he meets with the disciples again, only this time it's at the sea. And he shows up, and they had decided in verse 3 of chapter 21, Peter said, "I'm going fishing." And they said, "Yeah, we're going with you." So they go fishing, and they end up fishing all night, and they don't catch anything. And then that morning when they're putting their nets away, kind of gathered them up and nothing, Jesus shows up on the shore. And what happens is he asks a question. He says, "How are you doing?" And they had to answer, "Not very good, not very good." And I don't know about you, but sometimes when we let our mind rule our actions, we make decisions and we're going to go back to fishing. And because we think Jesus isn't there. And so Jesus will show up and say, on those decisions where we kind of forget about Jesus for a minute, he'll say, "How you doing without me?" And you got to answer, "Not very good, not very good." And so that's kind of the story, and so he tells them, he gives them some instruction, cast your net on the other side. And when they do, they get this multitude of fish, And so there's four things there, there's that you have to look at. And it's so beautiful because here they are, been up all night. Think about that, a long night. They're worn out. So this is after nothing, no results, after nothing, after being up all night, after a long, long night, after being worn out, and after being tired. Jesus comes and he asks a question. So his presence is important. He asks this question, then he gives some instructions. So you have to answer the question, then he gives you some instructions, and then you have to obey. They cast their nets on the other side, and then they get the results. So, when you kind of look at that, okay, what's going on? I need to listen to instruction. I need to be obedient if I want results. But the beautiful part about it is Peter, he sees that it's the Lord, so he just dives in and goes ashore. The guys, they're not that far out, so they come in. And what happens, they see breakfast. He is cooking breakfast for them. I love this story so much because it's one of my favorite stories. Because here's coals of fire, there's fish, there's bread. And think about it now. I just want you to think about that when you look at Scripture. Verse 3 said, "I'm going fishing." And that's cool. That's great. But my question is this morning, the results of his presence and the results of listening to him and the results of spending time with him far outweigh all our effort and all our energy to try and do what we know to do and what we've always done. So they know how to catch fish. They've always caught fish. So when we go back to doing what we've always done, when we go back to doing what we know how to do, when we go back to where we used to get results, it's not the same. Because a lot of times we won't do anything but get worn out and tired and frustrated and just kind of spend all that time with no results. And so the beautiful part is his presence brings results. And listening to him brings results. Wow. And spending time or fellowshipping with him brings results. So what he did was he demonstrated above what you can ask, think, or even imagine. Okay? Nothing. No results. And then all of a sudden, after nothing, no results, I want you to hear that, they get the next morning, after that long night, that next morning, they get to see Jesus. They get a boatload of fish, and then they get breakfast. I'm telling you, at the end of their fishing trip, when they were in that state of mind and they were that physically and spiritually and mentally and emotionally at their end, they get after tired, after nothing, they get above what they could have asked or even thought or imagined. It didn't cross any of their minds that we're going to throw the net out one more time and we're going to catch a multitude of fish. It did not cross their mind that, man, Peter's going to be so excited. He's going to swim to shore and we're going to follow him. And when we get there, we're going to have a hot breakfast. And Jesus is going to cook it. And I tell everybody, if Jesus would have stuck around, we would have Jerusalem fried fish instead of Kentucky fried chicken. It would have been famous because he was a great cook. He was a really good cook. So the last thing he does before he leaves is cook some breakfast. So they'll always remember him. Oh, I miss his breakfast. I miss Jesus. I miss that it was so personal to us. He cooks these guys breakfast above what you could ask, think, or imagine. So many fish above what you could ask, think, or imagine. Get to have breakfast with Jesus. The night before, you didn't even know. All night, you didn't dream of that. You couldn't have thought this stuff up. And here they're having breakfast with him, all these fish. Just provide for their family. Just such a cool story. So my question is today, do you know him, this risen one, as the one who prepares something for you? Do you know Jesus, the one who prepares something for you? Do you know the Jesus that cooks something up just for you? See, he demonstrated that. I'm cooking this up just for you. I'm preparing this just for you guys. I've got some instruction just for you guys. Here, listen. If you'll do this, and if you'll do that, you'll be really, really happy with the results. See, I know the risen one that prepares stuff just for me and Susie. I know the risen one that just cooks stuff up just for Rick Bradbury. But see, he's no respecter of persons. He does the same for you. He does the same for you. And it doesn't have to be after you've done good and after you've done great and after you have really put in a lot of effort. It can be after you're tired and after you're worn out and after nothing's happened and after no results. He'll still come and do something beyond what you could ask, think, or imagine. So it's about meeting with him and spending time with him. And we're going to do that. If you're in the Morristown area, starting tonight, 7 o'clock, for the next 10 days, for the next 10 nights, from tonight, this Thursday night, right here on the calendar, May 21st at 7 o'clock for a couple hours, we're going to meet with God. And then tomorrow night, meet with God. Saturday night, we're going to meet with God. For 10 nights, we're going to meet with God. There's a cry for more in our area, in the Morristown area. And then I found out last night from another pastor, there's a cry for more in the Seymour area. And there's a cry for more in the Powell area. And in our area, all the guys that I respect and love and have a heart for the community are all going back to services on the 31st. I'm at live services and gatherings. And we're going to just bathe that in prayer. We're going to bathe that in prayer so these men and women of God can gather with the people of God and their families and friends that maybe never entered the house of God are going to be there. We're bathing that in prayer. We want more in Morristown. We want to see more salvations than we've ever seen. We want to see more lives changed than we've ever seen. So in Morristown, 7 to 9 for 10 nights, we're just going to do like they did, preparing for Pentecost. We're just going to meet and just get in his presence and hear from the Lord and bathe what the plans that God has for in the Morristown area in prayer. If you want to come, if you can't come to ours in Seymour, at the Pursuit, you can go there. They're doing the same thing every morning. We're going to do it every night. Other places are doing it. If you could just spend these next 10 days in prayer, I would like to see 100 people, 120 people come. I'd like to see 20 pastors. If you can, would you come by the Connection and just pray a prayer? 20 pastors, 100 people that have a heart for intercession. Would you just come by the Connection 7 to 9 for the next 10 nights? And let's just really seek the Lord. And it's just not about this. I'm at Knoxville, Powell. I'm at surrounding areas. I heard what God's doing, something being it doesn't matter the city. It doesn't matter the county. It doesn't matter the place. We want more. And I'm sorry this post might be a little long, but I'm kind of excited about it. Just to spend some time, hear what he has to say, answer his questions, be obedient to what he tells us to do, because I believe the results. I'm asking for the 31st of May to be the most significant day in the history of Morristown. That we haven't had a day like the 31st is going to be this month. That we've not seen the glory of the Lord like we're going to see on the 31st. That we've not seen the power of God like we're going to see on the 31st. That we're not going to see lives forever changed not in one day like we're going to see on the 31st in the Morristown area. So would you please just stop by or just kneel somewhere or get a hold of God. 10 days of prayer, 10 days of crying out for more. Morristown. I believe God's going to do some amazing things. Love you. Know the God that's cooking something up. Know the Lord that's preparing something. And then he's going to serve it to us. We're going to get it. We're going to taste it. We're going to see it. We're going to know the risen one. Especially those that love him